Hey everybody, Harry here, just popping in to wish everybody a happy holiday season. We have a special holiday episode for you here. This is our critique analysis of a little film called Bad Things. It is snowy, it is spooky, it is hotel horror that is set in our hometown of Ithaca, New York. So we had a fun conversation talking about what we thought about this movie. Before we get into this conversation, I would love to just mention once again, thank you all so much for continuing to listen to Jen and me and our rotating guests discuss horror. If you are liking what you hear, please hop onto your favorite podcast streaming service and give us likes and reviews and follow the show. It really helps with the visibility of the show overall. We're going to be switching from doing this only during the spooky season to doing it monthly very soon. So hopefully that is exciting to you. It is certainly exciting to us. And we will definitely catch you very soon in 2024 with another scary flick. But before then, here is our conversation on Bad Things. Toodles.
Listen, okay, we're going to take because Jen has heard me go on this rant before, but I'm going to do it anyway because I have a theory about
the public needs to hear it.
Thank you. The public really does need to hear another white man in his 30s give his theory about art. But thank you.
That's what we're here for. This is what we provide.
I'm Harry Nichols. I am an English teacher that feels like it right now. That's feels like it's all I do. I just teach English and I sleep sometimes.
That's where you find the horror.
That's
right now.
Right now, sure. I feel like I could make a pretty good indie horror about the teaching it.
I would watch that.
I am
too.
Here for it.
All right, yeah. Okay, so that's what you have to do now.
Yeah.
Add that to your list.
Okay. That's fine. I have the time for that. I can do that. I can make a movie right now. It doesn't seem that hard. It doesn't seem that hard. We just watched.
It doesn't seem that.
Oh man.
I mean, I loved Skinamarink, but I mean, you could probably make that, right? You know,
I could make
just go around your house and take some shots.
Yeah,
exactly.
Listen, I was very much on Team Aaron Arm with Skinamarink. So
most people were.
Yeah.
See season 1, episode 1.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a callback for everyone.
Okay. I'm Jen Lightfoot. I am a tattoo artist, and I should be working on art that I'm not doing. So just a tattoo artist at the moment, in the same way that Harry is also just a teacher at the moment.
So this episode's introduction, we're talking about who we are, what we do, and what we feel like we should be doing, but aren't.
Yeah.
I think it seems about right. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, the holidays are coming, so
that's true.
This is a holiday episode.
It is a holiday episode.
It's got. I mean, the movie has nothing to do with the holidays.
Listen, it's a family film. It's a movie about family.
Yes, chosen family.
Yes, yes, and it snows.
Yeah.
So
it did snow in the movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. All movies with snow are Christmas movies.
Yes. The Shining.
Which we will talk about.
We will absolutely be talking about also. So I'm Sam Lupowitz. I'm a musician, a songwriter. I guess my day job is what I should be doing more of right now.
So you're doing the fun stuff.
I'm doing my best.
Day jobs are overrated, though. I feel like
it's that food and shelter addiction, man.
I know. Yeah. Weak
Yeah.
shit.
Weak shit.
So here we are. Mm-hmm. We are talking about Bad Things.
Yes, we are.
What a film. What a film, y'all.
Should we have...
Where do we start, Jen?
Well,
Where do you want to start?
I think we need to start with giving us a description.
True.
Okay.
Sam's like, I'm ready.
I am ready. I've been so ready. And you both know, because I've been telling you, I have been working so hard not to text either or both of you about this movie for about 2.5 weeks. So So here we are. So Bad Things. Our protagonist, Ruthie, played by Gail Rankin, who's one of those people you see in stuff, and then you're like, oh,
right,
you.
that lady. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So before the events of this film, she inherits a hotel from her grandmother. And she and her, until recently estranged mother, want to sell the hotel. Ruthie's girlfriend, Cal, wants them to keep the hotel and run it together. So, Ruthie and Cal and their frenemies, Maddie and Fran, go to spend a weekend in the abandoned hotel. And while they are there, we learn more about Ruthie's complicated relationship with her mother and with the hotel itself. And we also learn a whole lot about the four friends' really complicated, tangled web of interpersonal fuckery. And it really snowballs from there. I feel like that's the only way. And then a lot of stuff happens with chainsaws.
Sure.
That's
it's
a
snowball.
great
Snowballing is a great word for what happens, honestly.
Yes.
It's a very snowy movie. It is worth pointing out. We picked this because it's made in Ithaca.
Yeah, it was
here
filmed in Ithaca over by Trip Hammer. There's
Yes,
like,
I was going to say, I wasn't sure if that hotel was one of the ones that's right
it's
around
the
from there.
abandoned one. I
It's
think.
the one that closed a few years ago.
And then they changed the names of the stores. But that's the
I recognized Trip Hammer Marketplace when I only caught it the second time I watched it, because the first time I was like, wow, this is happening. That was my reaction to it. So this time I was like, oh my God, that's Trip Hammer Marketplace. And so that I thought it might have been that same hotel that's right around the corner from there.
To everyone who is listening, this is an Ithaca, New York based podcast.
Right, yeah.
In case you're wondering why
We could have gone a little more context here, yeah.
But yeah, that was wild. That was really like a quirky thing to experience while experiencing this film overall.
So we picked it because it's wintry. We picked for like a holiday episode. We picked it because it was made in Ithaca, and like how often do you really get to see that, right?
Yes. And it's a 2023 film, so it's a new movie.
So it fits. Man, so here's where I'm struggling to begin talking about this movie. Like I don't want to just like dive right into rating it. Yeah. Because like I really want to rate it.
I know, but no, we have to
fascinated. I've been fascinated to hear where y'all land on at the assigning a number.
We could actually do the rating early.
We could do ratings first.
We could do it.
Okay.
And then revisit.
Yeah, because after we talk about it, because I feel like afterwards I sometimes am like, I wrote this down as a whatever, but I'm like, actually. So yeah, we can re-rate it at the end.
I'm ready for that.
Okay.
Should we just go around and say a number?
Yeah.
No description?
Not me not first. Shut up.
All right. I gave it a 7.5.
Okay. Cool. I gave this one a 5, and like an earned 5. There was a lot of stuff that didn't work for me and a lot of stuff that really did. And there are some movies that I feel like I would give, like by nature of how much of a 5 it is, I'd give it a 3. But I think this was a 5.
Nice.
I want to give it like a 4.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I just, like, I felt like, it just felt messy to me. It did not feel like someone was really at the helm for most of it. It felt like a movie where there was maybe like a big idea that someone was going for, and then a director just said to a bunch of actors who are not privy to that big idea, improvise, figure it out, right? You have drama with each other. Just like improvise and it'll pan out. I hated it.
I definitely hear you on the messiness, and there were absolutely parts of this movie that made me, especially toward the end, that made me very frustrated.
Yeah.
But for me, going in, I went into this knowing nothing about it other than filmed in Ithaca, the like one sentence summary that was on whatever, which was
Shudder
like,
or something.
Yeah, like a group of friends goes to a hotel and finds women do bad things there. So the only clue I had to like what the movie might be about is that it emphasized that it was.
I had
maybe
read that about.
Did you
it
guys
as well.
read things about it?
Not until after I watched it the first time. And the one other thing I knew about it going in was when I saw numerical ratings of it, they tended to be on the lower side of the middle of whatever that rating scale was, right? So I don't really know what I was expecting, but I was expecting something very different from this, and I found myself really interested in it and engaged by it for much longer than I thought. And then it really starts to take some big swings. And I think it misses a lot of them. Yeah. But I was really interested in the swings that it was taking. But I mean, I don't know how linear or not.
It doesn't have to be linear. Trust me.
I also had a stylistic problem. I maybe it's just part of my, I think I have a bias against movies that look cheap. And this is movies that look cheap, but that are trying to look like movies that are not cheap.
So not Evil Dead.
I'm good with Evil Dead because it's leaning into its own cheapness and its silliness. But this is a movie that I think tried to have a weight to it and a heaviness and a darkness.
Tried to look like a bigger budget.
And tried to do something a lot more serious and engrossing than those kinds of movies do. But I think that it also... it just couldn't pull it off. I mean, it's a Shudder original. It's a made-for-TV movie. I
did feel like some of the shots were really good. I felt like the the more daytime scenes were not shot as well as the cheating scene, which I thought the flickering light and the darker whatever was really nice. There's one scene that I really enjoyed where it's kind of towards the end, and it's towards her mental breakdown, whatever you call it, and she walks
and
to
however you interpret it. Sorry, continue.
Well, she walks to the front of the elevator, and it's her silhouette, and it's she has the black jacket, and it's against the pink wall. She goes in the elevator, and then the way she comes around, and the camera starts at the one end of the hallway, and then zooms in towards her coming around the corner. I was that's a really interesting shot, but I wanted a little bit more of that because I was so the director, I watched another movie that she did.
Lyle?
Yes.
Okay, I also watched Lyle.
It's been a real fucking long time ago.
Okay.
So I did not like Lyle as much as Bad Things. Okay. I liked Bad Things better. But one thing, I pulled up a quote. No, it's not a quote. It's just the headline of an article. Whatever.
I have some writer-director quotes for
sweet.
later. So
okay, good. Stuart Thorndike.
Yes.
It says, sets her gory tale at a hotel reminiscent of The Overlook. The director says her movies are, I think this is the part that I wanted to get to, mirroring male stories she grew up loving, which I think is interesting. So it is I know somewhere she says it's sort of accidental, but also not, mirroring The Shining, because Lyle is mirroring Rosemary's Baby.
Right.
Yes. And there's another one she's coming out with called Daughter, which I guess is the third in the trilogy. I guess
yes.
We both read the same New York Times article.
Okay, so maybe that's because it's not my very first note. I'm looking at my notes from the first time I watched this movie. My first note is about Molly Ringwald, so which we can talk about Molly Ringwald.
She's hot in it.
Oh my god!
Right?
This is.
She's always been hot.
She's always been hot,
and it's a pretty hot cast overall.
Oh yeah,
but it's Molly Ringwald. I'm not even those 80s Brat Pack movies are not even the touchstone for me that they are for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But I was still first I saw her name, I was oh my god, Molly Ringwald is in this movie, and then later she showed up, and I was damn, Molly Ringwald.
For a second,
a fine wine.
For a second, I thought they only got those YouTube videos of Molly Ringwald.
Yes!
And then I was oh, she agreed to be in this because she didn't have to leave her house.
Oh my god.
So anyway, that's my first note, but it doesn't take me long before I have a note about the hallway shots. I have Shining vibes.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
And of course,
you can't have.
I just caught that watching it the first time, no context. So then I finished the movie, and obviously there's a lot of it that is calling back to The Shining in a lot of ways. And so then I saw that all of the promotional material and the writer-director's the way she was pitching the movie was that it was a queer feminist take on The Shining. And that is really interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And also, I think one of the things that makes the movie not work for me.
Yeah.
Because, listen, Stanley Kubrick, The Shining's an amazing movie. Stanley Kubrick's an incredible director. Anytime I hear a director saying how it really influenced by Stanley Kubrick, it gives me pause. Because he's one of those creatives, like, I feel like if someone wanted to, like, write songs and they told you that their influences were, like, Anthony Kiedis or from the Red Hot Chili Peppers or, like, Colin Meloy from the Decemberists, you'd be like, maybe those two guys are great at what they do, but maybe no one else should do it. Maybe it rings a little false. I felt about this movie that by setting itself up to be like, okay, we're taking The Shining and we're going to put a queer and feminist spin on it, that is setting a very high bar for what the movie has to say and what it's going to deliver. And I don't think it succeeded in delivering on those things. And I think the film itself, even without that, like, external subtext, the film at times is telegraphing that it wants to have something to say, but then it feels like it backs off on that at a lot of opportunities. And that's why, like, I appreciated the ambition, but also there were a bunch of times when I was like, I want you to give me more than that. If you're going to say that this movie is aspiring to be this thing, I want you to go for it. And, like, I just feel like it didn't commit enough for me to really really love it.
No, I was going to say it's tethered to The Shining is one that, in my opinion, is, like, really just the most superficial. Sure. I feel like she tries to recreate a lot of shots from The Shining.
Sure.
And not so much deliver any kind of, like, meaningful thematic twist on The Shining other than centering queer female characters. And
I don't know if I agree with that.
so the other comparison, can I just finish my comparison of The Shining, and then we can argue about it. The other thing that I wanted to say about The Shining is, like, of course this movie, like, recalls The Shining.
Yeah.
You can't have a horror movie in a hotel and not think about The Shining at least little bit.
It's winter. It's
exactly
100%.
People go crazy inside together. Yeah.
The specific moment that I feel that this movie nails really well in The Shining is, like, not the most popular moment in The Shining at all. It is the moment in The Shining where Stanley Kubrick is taking the most piss on the audience. It's like this moment where Wendy is, like, wandering through the Overlook Hotel, full terror, like, being pursued by Jack. You know, do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm pretty sure I know.
She busts into the dining hall, and it's just like this ridiculous fucking Disney haunted house of, like, skeletons and, like, spider webs and shit. And she's just like, right? And she runs out. The whole movie felt like that for me. Like, that's the scene from the movie that this movie was, in my opinion. I don't know.
Wait, so going back
Let's argue.
going back to the rewriting with queer female characters, the first time I watched it, okay, I should say I liked it more the second time I watched it. The first time I watched it, I was like, holy fuck. I cannot, who is who? Who is, like, fucking who? What are their names? Why is that one calling out that one's name? But then I was like, is that, the second time I watched it, which, to be fair, was like a month and a half apart, I was like, is that to disorient cis straight viewers?
No, like, maybe.
No, because
legit.
I think that, like, I was like, oh, like, The Shining is a blood family. This is a chosen family.
Right, yeah.
So, like, is that to, like, confuse it because there's not a clear mother, father, child, whatever. So I was like,
interesting point.
Right. The second time I enjoyed that more. The joggers, I think, are like the
Grady twins.
Yeah, the twins.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That was,
I did not,
but why have them in the movie other than just to be like, see, it's like The Shining.
I did not pull this out. This is not my idea, but once I heard it, I was like, that's awesome. So my partner Tegan said that she thought it was, obviously they're representing the Grady sisters, but having them be two model joggers, it's like they are like forced to exercise for the rest of their lives. And as women,
I do like that
like,
take.
right? That's like horrible. It's like this, like their standard of beauty they had to maintain as being alive is now their hell.
Okay.
Which I think is interesting, but I don't know if the thing is I watched it twice and I didn't get that. So is it that clear?
Well, but
I don't know.
my follow-up question is, how does that connect to the larger, like, thematic statement of the movie?
So may I? I would love to jump in on that. So they talk about one of the first things that happens at the beginning of this movie is they're talking about when they come into the hotel. Oh, there have been 5 deaths in this hotel over 30 years. I wasn't sure about if that wound up having any significance. 5 people die in the movie, which I thought maybe was supposed to be like a little kind of parallel.
You've always been in the Overlook, Mr.
But
Torrance.
didn't really go anywhere for me.
Yeah.
Also, with the ghosts, like there were way more than 5 of them, so I wasn't really.
Yes.
But they talk about maybe it's later when they do the swimming pool scene that they talk about the model joggers. Like, yeah, they both went out for a run one day. And then they never came back. And they found one of them, like, they got in a fight and never came back. And one of them they found, like, who bled out and was, like, trying to patch up wounds with leaves. So for me, I think it ties into one of the themes in the movie, which is conflict between women, which comes up, like, because our core characters are a chosen family, if a very dysfunctional one. But also, as The Shining is very much about, like, this really tortured father-son relationship, this is also very much about a really fucked up mother-daughter relationship.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, I feel like we're given that, and then it's not necessarily developed and doesn't maybe pay off in ways that I find particularly satisfying. But
but you're right, the mother-daughter.
It's a big part of it. Yeah.
That was one of my most frustrating things about it. And I still, maybe you guys will clear this up for me because I tried to Google it. The mother. Okay.
Yeah.
I liked the twist that she had her phone at the end and that she killed her. However, okay. How do I put this? When Molly Ringwald is in the room and, like, it's kind of a hallucination, I guess, for Ruthie, and she hugs her and she's like, oh, if you were my daughter. Okay, she's watching the videos.
Right.
And then the ghost at the end is also Molly Ringwald. Was Miss Auerbach her mom, or is that how she viewed her mom and we don't actually see what her mom really looked like? I found it a little confusing.
I can tell
It was
you.
confusing.
Yes,
I can tell
tell
you that
me.
summaries online say that she is revealed to have been her mother. Like that. That said, who wrote that
Okay.
fucking thing? I don't know.
That's interesting because my read on it was different. So once they established that Ruthie's mom has been dead the whole time, like I got really thrown by all the twists at the end the first time because I was like, wait, I thought the mom couldn't come. When did she kill the mom? She kills the mom before they come to the hotel.
Right.
The
Yes.
mom's dead
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I got that. So all of the texts from her mom, she's sending herself, which also she gets a bunch of them while she's having sex with Fran, so she can't.
Oh my God, I didn't think of that.
Yeah. So there's a bunch
Scheduled texts, my friend.
There's a bunch of stuff like that.
She
in
knew
this
she was
movie.
going to be cheating in that moment
Right, I
and
know,
needed an alibi.
I gotta be. I know. I have an appointment. I'm cheating on my girlfriend at that
God.
time. Need to send myself some mom texts. There's a bunch of stuff like that in this movie that, again, like with the unavoidable references to The Shining, there's a bunch of stuff like that in The Shining that's like, it's not really supernatural. It's all in their heads. Oh, but how could this happen if it wasn't supernatural? But just because Stanley Kubrick did that doesn't mean you've earned it. Like I felt like, cool, it's ambiguous, but I don't know that you've earned that. A lot of it felt like because. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I do think it's a
this is gonna
trope that
happen a
happens
bunch.
a lot, though, because I love
Sure.
the story of a woman going insane through a movie. Like, have you
Yeah.
guys seen Polanski's Repulsion?
No.
It's like a similar kind of vibe, which is, I think, pre-Shining. I don't know the dates of things, but it's like this woman kind of like, if I remember correctly, going like mad in her house, and like there's this scene with like these arms coming out of the wall. Like it's really interesting,
Right.
So I feel like it's like a trope that's been done.
Totally.
And I love The Shining. I love The Shining.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll say something a little controversial now.
Go for it. Oh, as you take
She
a
grabs,
drink.
demurely grabs her wine.
I think Stanley Kubrick is overrated.
No one as unimpeachably beloved by film bros as Stanley Kubrick is above criticism. That's what I'll say.
Listen, I don't think
go
Stanley
for it.
Kubrick is the end all be all of filmmakers at all. I think that as an auteur, I think he's made some good movies, but I don't think that he's oft imitated and almost never imitated well.
That's true. That is
things.
true.
Yes,
He does have some great movies. I agree with that.
Yeah.
You're right. People try to imitate him. It doesn't. It's sort of like, oh, that's cute.
Which is not how I would describe The Shining.
And the reason I say he's overrated is I just think he doesn't have a specific style. Like I don't watch a Kubrick movie and go, that's Kubrick. And that's just me.
Oh, really?
As an
I
I know,
kinda
and
disagree
as
with
an
that
artist,
statement.
I don't know if I've. Yeah. To
Have
be
you
fair,
seen
though,
the other Kubrick? Have you seen like Clockwork Orange?
yes,
Have you
I've seen Clockwork Orange. I love Clockwork Orange. I've seen Full Metal Jacket.
What about his whole like?
Doctor Strange.
I've seen Doctor Strangelove.
Oh yeah.
The darkest
There's
comedy
only.
I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
I just haven't seen in full 2001 because I fell
Wow,
asleep.
2001's a slog. I love that movie. I understand when people tell me they don't like that movie.
Yeah,
but
that's work.
it's
that movie.
the last like 30 minutes of that movie is really like a.
But
Yeah,
it's slow. I love Skinamarink. I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like I should give this another shot.
Sure.
I should do
It is slow. It's slow and it's long, but it's like slow burn. Which I also watching this movie twice made me want to watch The Shining again. And Mandy and I did watch The Shining
What did
last
you
night.
think of like? Because it's been a while since I've seen The
Yeah.
Shining, but like, what comparisons were there? Things that stuck out to you more?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I really like the show. So here's one of the things. The Shining is a really scary movie, like, and not in a way that a lot of horror movies are scary. Just the dread and the just how unsettling it is, and the music. There's so much about it is just so deeply unsettling. I did not find this to be bad things to be a particularly scary movie at all. That is one of the things that there was a nice like vibe of like weird shit is happening, but
Yeah.
I watched this movie by myself both times, and it never once was I even like a little. And
Yeah.
I'm not. I've watched a lot of horror movies, but I am kind of like I'm an easy scare.
No, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was briefly tickled by, I guess it's our lead who's in the CPAP mask with
Yes.
the chainsaw.
Was there significance to the CPAP? It
I
felt
truly
like,
have no idea.
It felt like they just said that would be a creepy.
That's a creepy thing to
have.
wear on your face. And that's the full extent of my comment here, which is just like, hey, it's pretty creepy to wear a CPAP and wield a chainsaw.
Yeah,
Right?
and
But also,
Yeah.
the unscariest chainsaw chase I've ever seen.
It was
All of it.
I found it quite
Interesting.
funny, actually, with
Yeah.
the classical
No.
music.
Yeah,
And
just like-
also, like, it felt like one of those things. It's one of the instances in the movie where it's like, it feels like there are a couple spots in the movie where it felt like it was sort of satirizing horror movie tropes, especially through that, like, queer and feminist lens. I was very interested in that. And I'm also... I really do want to dig into like that aspect of this
Yes,
movie because I
yeah.
think it's the key again to why it like some of it is really cool for me and some of it
Same.
absolutely does not work for me. But I also understand and realized from like looking for reviews of this online after there are a lot. There's so many reviews that are just like two dudes talking about this movie.
Yeah, totally.
And so like I want to be mindful of that as we
Yeah.
talk about why we don't think this movie works. That's like maybe. I'm not.
Maybe
the
you're not
target
the
demographic for this
people who
movie.
don't get it. And I
No,
totally
but
get
that's
that.
interesting. Yeah.
And I've also tried to realize that like that. Yeah, like maybe I'm just like not who gets this movie.
So yeah, I think I want to be mindful of that. That maybe I just like it's not for me. But also, I don't feel. I do think that if your thesis for your film is that it is exploring using an established narrative framework or
Right.
suggesting it was pre-existing narrative framework to explore these issues of queerness and womanhood and femininity,
Right.
then that doesn't necessarily make the end result immune to
Right.
criticism.
Oh, of course
Anyway,
not.
so
Well, because like
No,
also
yeah.
at the end of the day, like yes, I may not be the intended audience, but I also have read a story or two
Yeah.
and have watched a film or two, and I'm very open to a whole
Oh, yeah,
breadth
and-
of thematic statements that
Yeah.
could be made. I just don't think that there really is one.
No, I
here.
think you can still criticize it, like, because
Yeah.
as a queer woman, I did enjoy it, but it gets a 7.5 from me, which is good.
Right.
But I think it does have a lot of flaws still,
Right.
too. Like, I liked the chainsaw part at the end, thinking, like, oh my God, they're actually going to do it. Yes, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
But there are a couple moments where it's a little hokey.
Yeah.
You know, like the way it's shot is not the best moment of the way things are shot.
The chainsaw attack,
Yeah,
you mean?
like, but there's like, I like it. I love the thing I liked the most was when she goes back in the hotel and the design of the blood splatter on her face.
Yeah, same.
that was, which I wish hadn't been the thumbnail of the movie when I streamed it, because
Totally.
it really kind of
It really
like,
misrepresents the movie.
pulled the rug. I was expecting a much more violent,
Same.
much more like intense, maybe jump scary and shittier movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and it feels like that synopsis. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
it
no,
feels
no.
like that synopsis too was written by somebody who didn't watch the movie or who watched it while they were completely baked and like didn't
Yes.
really pay attention.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's not
so
what
many
happens
of
in
those
this movie.
synopsises, I'm like, come on, guys.
oh my
Yeah.
God. Sometimes they're amazing. On Amazon in particular.
Oh, Amazons are great.
Sometimes I'll scroll the horror section of Amazon just to read the synopses of the movie. But so what I was going to say, I wrote down the first time I was watching the chainsaw chase, how like goofy it felt with the classical music to me. It was, and then like the way she catches them and kills them in the parking lot, where they like trip on a snowdrift and can't get up.
Yeah.
I'm like, it really felt to me, there are a couple of spots in this movie where it feels like it's intentionally playing with or satirizing these tropes of women in horror movies.
Right.
Which is interesting. Again, I didn't always work for me the way they did it, but I don't know if you two felt that way. Like the way they like fall down and they like are just kind of lying
think-
there,
yeah,
and screaming, and then she chops them up, and then there's
Yeah.
that lady in the background.
I
just
know,
Yeah.
walk
walking
with a
through.
baby carriage. Yes.
Multiple pedestrians,
Yeah.
which are noted in the summary as like
Yeah.
not paying mind. And I said, okay, well maybe this, maybe there's something here, right? Like I earlier when we were talking about how this is a movie maybe about like violence, in violence among women, I thought maybe this is also a movie about the sort of like insular world of like queer women who have been marginalized by society and like pushed together and are otherwise ignored and shunned by society, right? And like the sort of violence that can develop among people in that situation. And I thought that was kind of like a neat, sure, if that's what we're going for here by having these random pedestrians happening while there's a literal chainsaw murder happening right in front of fucking Ithaca Bakery.
Right.
Like,
I know. It's so funny that it's like I've
It
been in
almost
that
felt like an accident, though. Like it looked like, oh shit, this is so low budget because to me that
But
kind
that's-
of thing happens
yes.
more in a city, and I am a city person more
Yes.
than what Ithaca is.
Whatever
But-
this is
yeah,
that we-
whatever this, wherever
that
this
we
is.
live in.
But I was like,
I'm sorry, wait. Chainsaw murders are something that happens a lot in the city?
Yes, that is-
especially in Texas, I'm told.
every Thursday. No, but like people will pay less attention to you yelling or screaming
Yeah,
for
sure,
help
sure,
in a
sure,
city. Like
sure.
whereas like, and that's just
Yeah.
how I feel. Other people might disagree, but like here it just felt like they didn't ask people
Right.
to stop going in the stores.
Well, and to try to tie together, I guess, a little bit of what I'm saying about this regarding the like silliness of the like. You said that you feel like they're kind of like parodying or like playing on horror tropes with a lot of the like cheesy stuff that goes on. For me, that combines with a lot of the like low budget vibes trying to be weightier. and
Totally.
just tells me that this is shit. You know what I mean? Like
I hear that.
That's not a good combination for me. Like
And yeah, I hear that. And I definitely read the pedestrian as deliberate because I'm like, this person knows how to make
else
a movie.
could
And it did feel it again. That's another thing that to me had some Shining vibes of this like sort of disjointed, like how much is really happening, how much is psychological. But again, I don't know that the film does the work to earn any impact from that.
Yeah.
Because I watched my notes from the first watch go from the tone of like, ooh, so what's happening to what the fuck is happening? That was the arc for me a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe like, is it cool if I like zoom out?
Please.
A little bit.
Go ahead.
Because I feel like I'm alluding to sort of my take and like what I like and also what has bothered me about this movie. And I want to, so again, this movie, it really telegraphs the director saying that it's, here, I'm going to pull up one of my quotes that I have. Thorndike explained that she's compelled to take what she described as male stories and, quote, force them into my female queer perspective. You take something you love and you take the boys out of it and let us do that stuff a little. She added, let us explore what it's like not to be the perfect family member. So, okay, so that's a start. But so what I hear in that quote is it's not about making any kind of statement. It's just, let's see what a version of this with women instead of men is.
Right.
Fine. I think that's fine. And I think I think sometimes representation for representation's sake is important and cool. And sometimes even like refreshing after you see a genre that's dominated by certain types of people in certain types of roles. So like I think that's really cool. And there were some of the movies that y'all did on the like Talk to Me. There was a non-binary character. There are indigenous characters, and it's not about that. They're just there.
Right.
And I think that's really cool. However, so much of this movie, never mind like all of the external like context and whatever. One of the first lines of the movie is they're talking about the people who have died in this hotel as they're coming in, and Cal has that line, not people, women. And right away, you're like, okay, so we want to talk about some hefty things about women here.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
And I felt like there were a lot of instances of this where I was like, oh, they're going to get their hands, they're going to like get into some issues here through this movie. And then they wouldn't. And I wanted it to commit. I wanted it to either be just a fun movie that like, hey, it's the whole cast is, women and a non-binary person and there's a trans woman and I think that's really cool. But that's not what the movie's about. But it kept telling us that it wanted it to be about that and then not exploring for me.
Like you wanted to go deeper.
I wanted it to go deeper or I wanted it to be just fun.
Because I agree with you. Because like I'm like, oh, I like the idea that it could like, I don't know, the chosen family thing, but that's also me reading into it.
Sure.
Right.
The movie's not saying that or really doing anything with it because we also don't get the indication that these people love each other or have known each other for that long.
Oh my God.
But you did mention Cal, and I do love that we have a trans woman.
I know.
And it's never mentioned.
Yeah.
She is just the girlfriend. She is just a woman.
Yep.
And I love that.
Yes. That's great.
And we don't have the evil well, we kind of have an evil lesbian trope. But we don't have the evil bisexual trope or the evil trans trope. So
this is definitely true.
that's
I mean,
good.
Cal is nothing if not like just like a victim of this whole situation.
Yeah, Cal is a victim.
I think
Oh,
Cal
no.
kind of sucks.
Oh, shit.
No, if I watched the second
But she has
time,
a whole shirt on.
the second. I mean, that's awesome. Cal's awesome.
She just wanted to run a hotel, Sam.
She just wanted to run a hotel that her girlfriend has told her multiple times.
Okay,
I've been
want to
traumatized by my mom, who like, oh yes, let me tell you, everyone, how she was traumatized by her mom.
Fair enough.
She's really passive aggressive. I didn't pick up on it the first time
No,
because
she is,
most
Yeah,
of
you're
the first
right.
watch, I was like, what's wrong with Ruthie? And all the other characters are like, what's wrong with Ruthie? And But no, like every time Cal has a line, it is so loaded with subtext, and it's usually just like being mean. Yeah. And she's really mean to Ruthie. She's mean to everybody. I'm trying to remember let me glance at my notes again.
Part of me wonders if she's mean to Ruthie because of Ruthie cheating on her
Sure.
and her not forgiving her.
But also there's a real moment. Like one of the things that got me was when and I don't remember when it's happening. I think it's after Ruthie almost goes into the room number is not 237.
I know it's like
room.
It's 324. Is it
Yeah.
that one?
I wrote it down. It doesn't. I tried to look if there was any.
There's a couple room numbers. I know. I kept looking.
Yeah. But yeah, Ruthie's about to go in there, and then Cal pops up. But Cal has that line, and they've already established that Ruthie has cheated on her, and also by that point in the movie, we've watched Ruthie cheat on her again. And she says, I could never forgive anything if anything happened again, right? And a lot of her lines are like that, where it's like, in case you didn't remember, here you're on very thin ice, and like she says a lot of things that are extremely passive.
So funny though. I don't think that's mean though. I actually think that's warranted.
That's fair.
Like if somebody were to cheat on me, like I don't know. I'm a very hard, and I think it's because.
But also you brought. Look
at us, we're all like.
You brought your
so
ex
heated.
and the person your ex is sleeping with.
Thank you.
Who
but
you've
Ruthie
also cheated on
didn't
with.
Bring
Ruthie.
that person.
Doesn't this?
The other
No,
friend.
Cal brought them.
I thought that you're right.
Cal brought Maddie, who brought Fran.
That was
Can
so
I please
fucking
just say,
confusing.
though,
Yes.
can I please just say, that doesn't this all highlight just the fucking absurdity of this whole premise?
There's
right?
a lot
These
of
people
of romantic drama
who all
at
have
the core of this.
so much shit with each other.
Yes.
Have
But isn't
decided
that like women?
to spend...
No, I'm serious.
You can say that, Jen.
You say it, Jen. Yeah, you go ahead and say
The
that.
way women fight are like, it's like passive aggressive. You don't say how you're feeling. You keep it inside. You make snide little remarks.
And let's all
and you're
agree to
all
go to
friends.
isolated hotels together.
I've been on
and
vacations with people.
Shit-faced
Yep.
like 13-year-olds.
Yes.
And okay.
No, I've definitely been on vacations like that. And then like, it doesn't end well. But women do not talk to each other. They're like, oh, I love you. And in their head, they're like, you fucking bitch.
That's very much the vibe of the... And there was another interview, and I think I might have written down the quote, but I'm just going to paraphrase, where Stuart Thorndike was being interviewed about this movie. And I think the interviewer is saying... Or maybe Stuart Thorndike just said, like, I've had some people say to me, like, why would you bring your ex along on vacation? And she's like, that totally reads for me. Like that's my friend groups are like that. And I didn't want to bring that into the discussion because I think it's sort of like it's a queer woman stereotype a little bit that like everyone's like friends with their exes.
Right.
But
yeah.
So it was interesting for me to hear the director say that, and I accepted that as like the premise. Like, sure, they brought their, Maddie used to date Cal and Fran. It's unclear. I don't think the movie makes clear if Cal knows that Ruthie has cheated on her with Fran, but it is clear that she's definitely cheated on her with Fran before.
Yes.
And whether that's the only time she's cheated on her, unclear. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was sort of amusing to me as I'm watching it. I was like, this is one of those movie plots where the conflict would really be diffused in where the whole conflict is diffused by polyamory, and instead it's just everybody like nope, everyone we're really everyone's on thin ice.
Yes.
And we're going to isolate ourselves in this really, really explosive situation with all these people who everybody's fucked everybody else, and no one's allowed to fuck anybody else, and something's going to go wrong.
I need to ask a stupid question.
There are no stupid questions.
This one is a stupid. Okay.
Only stupid answers.
Well, okay, then that's on you guys. So I thought Maddie brought Cal because when not Cal, Jesus Christ. I thought Maddie brought Fran.
Maddie did.
That is my understanding, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then Cal wouldn't have wanted Fran to be there. Right? Because I got the vibe that like
Cal says a lot of things about how Ruthie hates Fran, which it's hard to read if that's sincere or if that's Cal speak for
I hate Fran.
I know
I
what you
hate
did.
Fran because I know Ruthie
Yeah,
loved Fran.
that's true. A lot of that happens so quickly in the
It
movie.
happens
does.
so quickly.
Where you're like,
It's
what's
so
happening?
quick and subtextual and like, yeah.
It's a quick movie. It's like
Yeah.
80 minutes, which I'm okay with. I think most horror movies are better, like most comedies.
Right.
I feel like they're better when they're a little quicker. I think once you get past that 2-hour mark, you really got to earn it for me. And The Shining is a long movie.
Right.
But there was a lot happened very quickly, and you don't get the sense of isolation in the hotel. You don't really get that much of a sense of isolation.
No.
It takes place over like 36 hours. They do give you some dates, like it's like 2 days. And also there's like a shopping center right over there.
Right
Yes.
over there.
Yeah.
Right over there where
So-
you can walk with a chainsaw, over
yeah.
your head and murder people over there and then walk back.
And
Like,
also the town would be perfect if only there was a train. Also, there's a train that leaves twice a day. There was one of the lines, like, and
Yeah.
they were within like 2 minutes of each other.
can we talk about it a second? Wait a minute. So they get rid of Fran.
Yeah.
Oh, Fran, poor
How-
Fran.
How did they do that?
I
How did
wondered
they-
that too.
How did they just
they
ditch her at
drug
a
her?
train station? Did they put her? Did they drug her? Like, because that's really irresponsible. Did you like pump her full of drugs and dump her on a bench and just like
Unclear.
peace
I
out
don't
and
know.
go back to your hotel? Like, woohoo!
I mean, she was already.
I thought that too.
She had some drugs, right? Like prescription stuff because of her weird cancer scare that may or may not be a cancer scare, and then they just sort of leave that alone. But
Yeah.
the idea you get
But she
is
was awake
that
when
she-
they like walked her outside.
Yeah. But, I mean, you definitely get the idea. They tell you a lot about Fran being maybe a hypochondriac,
Right.
and then they don't explore it very much.
Listen, Sam. She heard back from the doctor.
Right.
She definitely
Really
has
does.
breast cancer.
You're my favorite customer. Oh, hi, doggy. This is a better film than The Room, though I might
I
say
got roomy vibes, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I would say, not as committed to its premise as The Room is. Which is
Oh
That's
my
what I wanted to
God.
say about it. That's what I wanted to say about it. So, like, I was tempted when I was thinking of how I was going to eviscerate this movie for this podcast. I was tempted to call it a mountain of shit.
Is this their okay? Wait,
But I don't think
is
it's
this
a
the
mountain of
lowest
shit.
rating?
It's
for
my
any of the
lowest rating,
movies?
yeah, for any movie that we've done.
So
Yep.
interesting.
I was tempted to
I
call it
will
a mountain of
argue.
shit, but I am not calling it a mountain of shit because a mountain of shit implies that there was some vision of grandiosity, right? Like, I feel like, and actually, the analysis here has helped me to work back towards it being a mountain of shit. But like, I had been inclined to think of it more of just like kind of like a pile of shit that I step in, and like that I don't know. I just
So interesting.
I think there was vision and
Yes.
it was deliberate, and I just think it went sometimes too far and sometimes not far enough, and did not. What I wanted from this movie was for it to commit more to what it wanted to be.
Yeah.
That's my biggest struggle with it, I think.
mean,
but I definitely.
like The Room was a mountain of shit. He
you're
tried
giving
really
this
hard.
a lower. Actually, there's several movies that you gave Cocaine Bear a higher rating than.
I did.
And Cocaine Bear is a perfect example of the kind of movie that I think is a 3 because of how much of a 5 it is. That's like
Fair.
It
Yeah.
is
I understand that.
so committed to its mediocrity and like saying just enough to not say anything. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, stand for something.
I don't
would
know.
Rather,
At least this one had a clear idea of like how to start, how to end.
What?
Cocaine Bear had 5 beginnings. I just can't with that movie. I
Mm-hmm.
can't with that movie.
I disagree that this movie had a clear vision for its beginning and ending. I think that this movie,
I don't think it did always a great job.
yeah. What's the difference in a movie that commits to being nothing than a movie who says it's gonna like knock it out of the park and then ultimately, strikes out?
I think
like what-
sincerity. So for real, I would rather you listen. Okay, we're gonna take because Jen has heard me go on this rant before,
I
but I'm
like
gonna
it.
do it anyway because I have a theory
Because
about
the public
art.
needs to hear it.
Thank you. The public really does need to hear another white man in his 30s give his theory about art. But thank you.
That's what we're here for. This is what we provide.
Yes. I have a white man in my 30s, have a theory about art, and it stems from the movie Snakes on a Plane.
Sure.
Do you remember Snakes on a Plane?
I've seen Snakes on a Plane, yep.
Yeah, I have also seen Snakes on a Plane. Anyone who may not remember, Snakes on a Plane was a movie starring Samuel L. Jackson from the mid-2000s about some snakes that
born
get
from
loose.
a meme, right? Born from a...
So
Sorry, I'm
no, I mean sort of, but here's the thing. It was already a movie. Snakes on a Plane was the working title. Samuel L. Jackson was attached. They were making the movie. The internet, we're talking early to mid 2000s, so this is still sort of is long before they reanimated Sonic the Hedgehog through an entire movie because the internet made fun of it.
Right.
People got wind that Sam Jackson was in a movie called Snakes on a Plane, and whereas the creative team was already trying to think of a movie, they were going to call it like Flight 396 or something that was like a little less campy, a little less... But the internet got wind of this and was like, this is so ridiculous, and just it became a meme. And this got back to the people making the movie, and they were like, oh, well... maybe we should lean into that then. The famous line from that movie, like, I'm tired of the motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking on this motherfucking plane. That was something that someone said on the internet, wouldn't it be funny if Samuel L. Jackson said this in this movie about snakes on a plane?
Right.
And then they took it and put it in the movie because people were expecting that. So what you get is a movie that is too aware of its own campiness to really commit to just being like it doesn't take itself seriously, but then it tries to like laugh off how it doesn't take itself seriously. It's not a funny movie.
Right.
It's like really media. So what results, the like refined mediocrity of that film is so much more offensive to me than a truly terrible movie like The Room or Manos, the Hands of Fate. That's the movie that taught me that failing big is much more admirable than going down the middle of the road and playing it safe.
Okay.
And so that's how I feel about a lot of creative things. And I feel like this movie is a mess, but she's really trying to do...
something.
The Shining, through a queer feminist lens. I don't. I think it still has some issues with how hard or not it commits to that.
Right.
But she's trying. Can I follow up on that?
Please,
Another
yes.
thing?
Say everything.
Jen, you said another thing that was interesting to me that I want to get into a little, and you said like how you love that there is a trans character and a non-binary character, and how it's never mentioned in the movie. And I also enjoyed that. But that was another thing that I felt like the movie was teasing, wanting to engage with in its sort of discussion of womanhood in the film, and then wouldn't go any further on. So I don't know if maybe you didn't read any of that at all into it, and you thought it was really just trying to like, I
think that's what it's saying though.
Yeah,
is that like
they're just
we like you're
like,
watching it and you're like,
yeah.
Is that like people? I think she wanted people to be like, is that a trans woman?
Yeah, right.
Is that like, but it's like, who cares? This person is a woman.
Exactly.
This person is a woman in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's just how, like, I think she was just like, no, like, this is how I see it. So this is how I'm going to make the viewer have to see it.
Yeah.
There were a couple of things where I was waiting for them to engage with that. And like, there was a line where Fran says to Cal, you must not understand the devotion of a mother or of a daughter to her mother. And I was like, is Fran pulling some transphobic shit here? Like, are we going to get into and then that's never touched again.
Right, yeah.
So I think probably it's better not, but I kept like, I was looking for more significance from the movie than I found.
Right,
so
right.
I was like, what is it? Is it saying anything that the cis woman kills the trans and the non-binary character at the end of the movie?
Interesting.
But again, I don't know that the movie does anything to support any
No, it
kind of read
doesn't.
there. But I also I want it to give me more than it gives me too.
Well, that's true, because
and not necessarily just about those two characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great.
No, but that's an interesting point, because if the cis woman is going to be the one killing the trans woman and the non-binary person, like that, then it really does feed into the evil lesbian
a little bit.
There's
and so what I'm hearing from that director quote that I read is maybe she's not trying to say anything with that. I mean, she's just we're just putting these kinds of people into this kind of movie, and maybe that's all it is, and maybe that's what I should look for. But if that's all it is, then it doesn't do a ton for me, as far as having a reason to come back to it.
Yeah, I like that as an experiment, just having people be in it as who they are. But I do now, hearing that, I'm like, if you are going to have the cis white woman kill the trans woman and the non-binary woman, who I don't know if she was a person of color or...
yes, I think so.
I'm not
yes.
sure what, but if you're going to have the white person kill these people, that feels like you should be saying
You should be saying something.
Well, and again, The Shining, a movie that has a lot to say about white patriarchal and how it destroys other. There's a lot of race stuff in The Shining.
Oh yeah, for
sure. It's not it both is and is not telegraphed, right? It's really there, but it's not. It's subtle in certain ways, I guess. But again, then if this is not that. We don't. There's nothing to support that here. Oh, did we finish? I'm the most scattered talking about this kind of thing. Did we ever talk about my read on Molly Ringwald is that Molly Ringwald is her mom.
Yeah.
When she's watching the videos, it's a hallucination, projection of that the person in these real estate videos, she's projecting her mom onto it because she's obsessed with her mom. And the whole sequence with the real estate lady being there is all a hallucination. The person who looks like Molly Ringwald, whatever, Ms. Auerbach is that. Yeah. That person doesn't exist. Or there's a Ms. Auerbach in those videos, but she doesn't actually look. It's an entirely different person, and Ruthie is the one who's seeing that it's her mom. That's the only way it makes sense to me.
So
but I'm hoping for
my take on it, and you gotta understand, I may have an incomplete understanding because I was rage watching this through multiple off periods at school, but
Wait, were you watching it
between
classes?
Yeah, between classes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, sometimes it's the only way to do these things when you have two kids.
I watched not this episode, but I did watch Evil Dead Rise in my office.
Nice, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Also, a movie about women with chainsaws that maybe has as much to say.
Yeah, but the chainsaws were more satisfying in that one. The gore. Anyway, I thought that Molly Ringwald as Miss Auerbach is her mom. Her mom is a successful real estate personality with videos online that she's watching. And I also thought that when she actually encountered her in the meeting room that was a hallucination. And actually I don't know if what's wrong with me, but I was oh, that's her mom. The beginning, the first
That's
video
what I
that
did.
she was
Yeah.
watching.
No,
I was
I did
oh,
the
that's
same
her mom.
thing. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're watching her mom.
Yeah.
And it was later, I realized it was later supposed to be a reveal that was her mom.
Yeah, it definitely was meant to be a reveal. I was
Harry,
nope.
I thought the same thing.
Okay.
So you're not crazy. I thought the same thing. I was like, is that her mom?
Yeah.
I don't know what made me fucking think that. But like,
Just because she's
I think it's
obsessed
han-
with her mom.
Yeah, that's
she's
true.
clearly
handled kind of
obsessed with-
clunkily.
Yeah,
I
it's
just think it's handled
poorly.
kind of
Yeah.
clunkily.
yeah, the mom part was a little like,
Who else is she going to be watching videos about at night while she's supposed to be falling asleep?
Well, but there is, I will say, Cal has been pressuring her to watch videos about running a hotel.
Right.
Cal, there's a scene where she's watching the video and Cal comes up and says, "You're watching it!" Because Cal will not let up about her wanting to run,
Right.
the two of them to run this hotel
Yeah.
together, even though
Right.
Ruthie clearly does not want to.
Right.
no.
Yeah. Poor Fran. She's a mess.
Ugh. But also, she sees the ghosts too?
Yeah.
It was really, again,
Like, why?
The only way the vagaries of like, okay, so it's Fran's hallucinating, but also Ruthie sees the ghost. But why Fran and Ruthie? What's the significance of those two?
Yes.
And again, other than, well, The Shining, I couldn't find anything in this movie that
You're right.
made that
No,
work.
made
I
that
agree.
make
I
sense.
felt like Fran was kind of meant to represent Shelley Duvall in a way.
That's funny, because I also thought Cal
Would
Shelley
make,
Duvall
well, I
vibe.
think Cal had the more look and would have made more sense because it was her actual partner.
Right.
But like, what's her fucking name? Ruthie is like into Fran as much as she like doesn't want to be. Whatever. She's like, there's a moment where she texts Fran and she says, "Come find me, come
All
find
caps
me,
7
come
times.
find me," which reminded me of like all work, no play,
Oh,
like
absolutely.
repeated. But like that would be like a Jack Nicholson,
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall type bond. I feel
And again,
like.
it's the "come find me" is like 2 minutes after we've heard her say "stay the fuck away from me,"
Yes,
which is
yeah.
yeah.
So I wonder if this might be a segue into like some what the fuck moment
Ooh,
territory for
yes.
me, because some of the flooding stuff it was kind of a what the fuck moment for
Sure.
me. Drinking the breast milk from
the boob light?
From the boob light.
I loved the visuals of the breast milk. I didn't even realize what I was looking at the first time I watched it, but I was like, that fucking white liquid.
Well, it's so
I was
funny
like,
because
fucking
like
love that
the first
shit.
time we actually see that stuff, it's
Is it by the radiator?
It's Fran. It's Fran who is
Oh,
like
right.
having her meltdown and being
Yes.
like, "Oh, we have to get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
Yes.
And it looks like fucking cum.
It
to
does
me.
look like cum.
Oh,
It looks like
that's-
cum.
It's like by the
interesting.
radiator on the
Yeah,
wall.
it's like
and
with the
stuff.
radiator.
Yeah,
and my
yeah,
first
yeah.
reaction was like, "Oh my god, who came all over the fucking hallway?"
That's ghost jizz.
Ectoplasm. It's ectoplasm.
Oh my god.
Call Dan Aykroyd. He's really interested.
Right. No, but I mean the breast milk thing. Like that's the kind of like
That's funny.
That's the kind of overreachy shit that I actually usually get into. But because the movie was what it was all
It
the
didn't
way
earn
leading
it
up to
for
it,
you.
it just was like,
Interesting.
this is fucking stupid.
That's so
Like,
funny. I did not get the jizz imagery. That's very funny. Like my first thought when I saw it was, oh, they said there was flooding earlier. Does it have something to do with that? But then when it happens again to Ruthie, it's totally like, oh, this is like we're a mother's milk kind of
Yeah,
situation.
yeah,
like
yeah.
the boob light that she's drinking.
She's drinking it.
You can
She's like
see her. Yeah, like
see-through
wet,
shirt with
total like
your
wet
breasts,
t-shirt
yeah,
contest.
like, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Okay, can I? I'm sorry. We're what the fuck momenting.
Yes, we are.
There are a few things that I think back up by way earlier when I was like, there are a couple of like women in horror kind of trope things that I think maybe they're touching on, and some of them I think are a reach, and I only noticed it because of these couple of other moments. But like the fact that there's a swimming pool scene, there's a scene where like. Where Fran like undresses very slowly and the shot lingers on it for a really long time. Like there are a couple of moments like that when I'm like, okay, are we like talk? But the thing that really got me, and I don't know if YouTube picked up on this at all, is the like reverse pillow fight toward the end of so when they find Brian's body
Okay.
and Ruthie's
He's just
like,
like in
I
a
don't
bunch
know, I
of
found my
boxes,
call to
right?
find- They're in the big store. It's like a
Yeah,
ballroom, but it's
yeah.
just they're just storing hotel shit in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Maddie tackles and then tries to subdue Ruthie
Right.
into a giant pile of pillows and is like beating the shit out of her in this pile of pillows. And I don't know if this was a deliberate move or not, but it was making me laugh because I was like, how many slasher movies have we seen, or like any like male gaze kind of movie where it's like, what do a bunch of girls do when they're alone together? Oh, they have a sexy pillow fight, and maybe some of them make out too, and then optional, the killer comes.
I did not catch that there were pillows in that scene.
She pushes her down into this mountain of pillows and is like beating on her. Like, it's really aggressive, and I did enjoy that moment. I'm hoping that was a deliberate move to take this thing that would maybe happen to an exploitative, in an exploitative horror film, and just turn it into this really violent. Because if nothing else, one of the things that and that the director said she wanted to explore in this is like female rage,
right?
And like that, and to allow those kind of characters to enact violence, and that one moment made that at least enjoyable for me. I don't know if I thought it was like smart, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
So.
I think mine would be, I know you guys are going to be like, really? The first time I watched it, it was the chainsaw part at the end when she actually starts slashing them and there's like blood, and I was like, all right, here we go. Because I
also did kind of feel that way.
I love gratuitous violence in horror movies. So I'm like, okay. So I think that was my what the fuck moment, because I did not see a brutal murder happening at the very end with a chainsaw. Like, I just didn't see it. I mean, obviously, when she has the chainsaw and she's chasing them,
right?
I see it, but I just didn't see it.
The rest of the movie is not
that.
Yeah, it's not it's a lot of like kind of creepy, but not like super violent.
No, it's not. It's not very bloody.
Yeah, and it's still even like
it feels like the. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's not very bloody, and then that's the most we get. Yeah.
It feels like the movie doesn't know what to do with a chainsaw. It's like it's a really awkward.
You're like, let me show you what to do.
Please let me show you. Because
Harry, a white man in his 30s,
right.
Step aside, little
Allow
lady.
me to show you what to do with a chainsaw, ladies.
You're gonna. I'm trying to. What's a good portmanteau with like chainsaw and mansplain, man chain.
I feel like the chainsaw murders are all really awkward. I think that they're really strange. It's like she kind of tags the dude. What's the dude? The guy that died?
Brian. But it doesn't matter.
What's his fucking name? She like tags him a couple of times. That's all we see of that, and then he's dead the next time we see him.
I know. I was like, wait, so he died? Like they
right?
Yeah.
And then she murders those two other women in front of Ithaca Bakery. Which is probably like the third or fourth weirdest thing done in front of Ithaca Bakery. But like, it's the weirdest chainsaw murder I've ever seen. It's like she's stabbing them.
But I do think
with
that
the
like
chainsaw.
you could argue like, okay,
when we chainsaw, we zhuzh.
But
right, we don't.
Women.
We zhuzh.
This is going to sound sexist coming out of my mouth.
I think you're entitled. You can show her how.
You
to
can
use
say
a
that.
chainsaw.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You're allowed.
In society, women are not taught how to use chainsaws, so maybe the director was like, a woman wouldn't know how to use a chainsaw.
Oh my god! Wow. That actually is that's way more sexist than anything Harry and I are saying. Take it back. Take it back. I'm offended.
I know there are many women out there who can use chainsaws. I'm not saying women can't use chainsaws. I'm saying maybe the director thought that.
Stuart Thorndike thinks women can't.
Yeah. Shit, I'm canceled. All right, guys. Okay, that's it. Everyone's gonna listen to this episode and be like, "That fucking bitch."
That's your cold open.
That's it.
Oh my god. Should we go through?
Saying women can't
Also,
use
Wait. On that note, because I'm already there. Should we talk about who's the hottest in the movie?
we're definitely going to do that. But wait, I have one more what the fuck moment. I'm so sorry.
I do too, because
my what the fuck moment is after the awkward chainsaw tagging of poor Brian. Our CPAP masked murderer then goes after
Papface. I'm calling it right here.
Sam, you're making that movie.
Oh,
Pat
you are
face.
the king. That was so good. Pat face.
Patent that shit. Trademark it. I
Then
don't know.
Pat face goes after what's her name?
They're all what's What's your name? Or what's their name?
Part of my problem. What's their
I
name?
won't
Thank you.
misgender.
Saved.
I
What's
won't
their name?
Saved. That tops my sexist.
What is their
comment.
name though? What is their name? What's the character?
Maddie?
Is that Maddie? It's
Yeah.
Maddie. Yeah. So.
Oh, I thought you meant like what's their name? Like all of them.
No.
I mean, I think that's how I felt for the first 2/3 of the movie the first time I watched it, but now I got it.
Yeah. No. So that's my bad. What's their name? By their, I mean Maddie, and goes after them with a pizza cutter.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
what
yeah.
they do is she catches their hand in the door.
Yeah.
And then slices up her fucking arm with
Yeah.
a pizza cutter, to which Maddie responds like, no big deal.
Yeah,
right?
like she just got a fucking paper cut.
Like, are you kidding
Matt-
me? And then, like, furthermore, proceeds to just, like, confront her.
Maddie's pissed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Maddie's not dying. They're pissed, actually, and rightfully so. I mean,
They're like, I've been DiGiorno before, all right? Like, I know how this is.
And they are also like, just Maddie clearly has a thing for Cal the whole time, but also is very correct about Ruthie the entire movie.
Yeah,
In
for
ways
sure.
that you couldn't.
My
predict.
what the fuck moment is how nonchalant they are.
Yeah, I think
about
that's fair.
that assault.
Oh, when they're on the ground too, they're just like, oh no.
It's a weird one. There's one other thing that really caught me, and that I got it the first time I was watching it. About halfway through this movie, the second time I was waiting for when it would be introduced. This movie has like a theme, a musical theme, like Jaws or Halloween, and it's
just bong, right? Like
it's four notes. It's bum 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 bum, and they introduce it about halfway through when Fran is telling them, please, we all need to leave. I need to save you, Ruthie. And then they decide to drop. And then it's the like creepy horror is coming theme for the rest of the movie. And it's so silly.
Yeah.
If you watch it again, listen for it's meant to be this like very like creepy, unsettling theme. But every time, once I noticed it, every time I heard it, it made me laugh. It really sounds like it's trying to be creepy, but it wasn't giving me, like, if it's Fantasia, it's trying to be Night on Bald Mountain, but it's giving me the hippo and the tutu. Like, it's just like really, really like pondering and
Right.
so that was and I can't tell if it's like a synth or low brass or something, but that was another moment where I was like, oh, this isn't maybe working for me the way that it's supposed to be working.
low brass, like a tuba. All right, who's the hottest?
You go first.
This is hard.
That's what she said.
It's a movie. It's a movie of hot people.
It is a movie of hot people.
movie
It
of hot
is.
people.
Honestly,
Very deliberately
I'm
so.
having trouble picking between a couple of them.
I'm gonna go with Molly Ringwald. She's hot.
I'm with you.
Mama knows what she wants.
Yeah, no,
like
there are a lot of hot people in the movie of all genders, and yeah, Molly Ringwald, man, like aged like a fine wine. I'm really, she was my favorite part of this movie for sure.
I'm also gonna go Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
But my runner-up would be Cal.
Yeah,
Cal, yeah.
no, Cal's really hot.
So I would say those are the top two for me. But I wouldn't. I'm not saying I wouldn't bang all of them. Just putting that out there.
Clearly, all of them feel that way about each other, and that's a source of a great deal of the conflict
and
in the
that's
film.
Reason I wouldn't bang all of them if they were the characters in the movie, because that seems like a problem.
Sure.
Seems like a good way to
Too
end
much
up
drama.
murdered with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
You don't want
I don't
chainsaw
want that
drama.
I don't want that ending.
No one chainsaw drama.
The chainsaw.
Can I? The thing that I wanted to say that I discovered
Yes.
researching this movie was
That's right. You have a quote.
yes, I do. Filming took place in Ithaca, New York. Thorndike chose the specific hotel for filming as it, quote, was very unusual but still modern. It felt like somebody had left it in the 90s during a prom or something.
Uh-huh.
And I said, like, wow, what a metaphor for Ithaca.
Yeah.
Like, just like in general, you know, like...
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, that sums up Ithaca.
The dream of the 90s is alive.
It's alive, right.
The Portland of the East. I do have... I'm sensing that we're starting to wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have big things you want to say.
I do have a pitch for a slight improvement on the ending. It was something that I think would have...
Okay.
So after the climactic chainsaw murder in the parking lot with the lady with the stroller, she goes back in the hotel, and she has a sequence where you see her mom as Molly Ringwald as her actual mom.
Right.
And Brian, the hot maintenance guy, is like shirtless dancing to that generic rock song and whatever, and mommy's busy and whatever. I think missed opportunity. She opens the door. Instead of Brian, the shirtless guy, dancing next to Molly Ringwald, it's the man in the bear suit from The Shining.
Totally, yeah.
Missed opportunity.
Well, because that's...
Missed opportunity.
Yes, I agree. I mean, that was so obviously what they were going for there, right? So obviously that shot was just like, I want to have that shot, but in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where that was.
And I say, get it, Molly Ringwald.
You get it.
Good for you.
You get that man in the bear suit, Molly Ringwald. You get your, like, generic maintenance guy.
He was younger?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah.
And really into her. He seemed like he was really into... He was like talk about how you like they don't understand her, they'll never understand her.
Yeah.
He seemed really into her. He wanted to bring her a plant.
That poor succulent is really... That's the uncounted sixth death in the movie, is that succulent. Mm-hmm. It's really...
I mean,
I said 5 women are murdered in this hotel.
And a succulent.
It's
not hard to do. I've killed them.
No.
Name a plant.
Not
I probably
people.
killed it.
Not people.
Yeah,
Holy succulent.
Holy shit. This podcast is not admissible as evidence.
Let's just be clear. I meant the plant.
This podcast just became Harry and Sam ruin someone's night.
AKA mine.
Oh, no.
And we'll phone Jen in from jail every now and then.
Every now and then. Oh, goddamn.
All right.
On that note.
Anyone have any more to say? Feeling good?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, our pleasure,
this was
Sam. Thank you, man.
So much fun. I was
Thank
really
you.
excited to talk about this funny little movie with you guys.
It was very silly.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's clink it. Clink it at the end.
Clink it.
Clink it to think it.